Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe here on this Wednesday evening. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. And I am back. This is a live session. I'm refreshed from my vacation. Very nice vacation. Went on a cruise to several places. I went to Bahamas. I went to Jamaica. Went to Cayman Islands, and went to Cozumel. Was supposed to go to Turks and Caicos as well, but the boat didn't stop there. It's a cruise ship anyway. It was a great time. Beautiful beaches, beautiful activities, lots of food, lots of drinks. These cruises, I tell you, you can eat till you drop, you can drink till you drop, and so on. But we had a great time, and now I'm back. Also, I spent a day out in Fort Lauderdale. I went to Port St. Lucie as well. It's pretty nice over there as well. Visit some family friends. Anyway, back to the real world, and we have another great Wealth Wednesday today, a live session, and we're going to talk about Airbnb, profitable Airbnb hosting, tips for maximum occupancy, and positive reviews. I thought I'll do a session on Airbnb. I haven't done one in a long time, and I know there's a lot of misconceptions about Airbnb. I want to sort of address some of those, and the good, the bad, the ugly. And also, hopefully, if you are doing Airbnb and or other short-term rentals, then hopefully I'll provide you some good tips on how you can, increase occupancy levels, and also hopefully get positive reviews from people that stay at your property. Anyway, as you can see from the ticker tape underneath, we will be doing a live event March the 16th, which is a week on Saturday, at Femi's house, the one in Washington, D.C. For those, if you recall, a couple of months ago, we did a session there. Femi is a student who bought a house in November of last year, and his first investment property, and we're doing a burr. He's doing a burr. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's been turned into a 6-bedroom, 4-bath house, and we did an event there in December, kind of midway through the rehab. And so now everything is done. The rehab is finished. Working with him, getting a tenant. We had some great prospective tenants. And just before I left, we kind of decided on a tenant to go with. And now we're going through the Section 8 process to get the tenant moved in. And hopefully that will be very, very shortly. And as a result of that, we want to do an event prior to the tenant moving in. So it's going to be March the 16th, which is the week on Saturday. And for those of you who are in the DC area or can come to Washington, DC, it'll give you a chance to kind of go through the house, see the final product. It's an amazing transformation. Great job that Femi did. And that's a beautiful house, beautiful house. We have a lot of applications, a lot of interest, and we're able to get a tier 1 tenant. So what we're going to do on the session on the 16th is kind of talk about the entire process, especially the back end processes, from where most of you saw it last time, which was the midway through the rehab. We completed the rehab, went through the inspections, and got through all of that, and then staged the house. And then after that, we then went through the whole tenant, marketing for a tenant, showing the house, open houses, screening, checking their backgrounds, and then did a home visit, and then ultimately selected a tenant. So we're going to talk about all that. Plus more, and Femi will be there, so you can get his experiences. I think it's been a very, very successful project, and I think it's very encouraging. It's very motivational. So hopefully you'll have the time to attend March 16th, and I'll give you. This is a teaser, so if you're on my email list, I don't know what's going on my internet. It looks like a little choppy. But anyway, so hopefully if you're in the DC area, you can come on March the 16th. And oh boy, this internet's not very strong. But anyway, I digress. So so if you can come in, it's a teaser. If you're on my email list, please look out for some emails that will be coming through. Also, we'll post on social media as well, March 16th. But just save the date and so on. So let's get down to today. As usual, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll get to them, at the end of the session. If you've got any questions for me, anything to do with real estate investing, please put them in and I'll try my best to answer them for you. Okay, then. So let's get down and talk about Airbnb. There's a big push about Airbnb, a lot of misconceptions about what it is, and a lot of people went into it and find out it's not always cracked up to be. I had an Airbnb property, a short-term rental property, and for various reasons, took that on as opposed to a long-term rental. And in Washington D.C., they changed the laws around. So last year, so we could no longer do short-term rentals and had to kind of graduate to midterm rentals, more than 30-day plus. So short-term rentals, a lot of jurisdictions are cracking down on that. New York's cracking down on it, Boston, San Francisco, LA, and lots of places. So, so anyway, so why is Airbnb hosting a potential game changer for real estate investing? Well, essentially what it boils down to is that short-term rentals, and I call them STRs, short-term rentals, of which Airbnb is one of them. There's lots of different platforms, Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. There's a whole bunch of them. These sites, offer you, the investor, the opportunity to get higher rents, higher yields, I suppose, and higher occupancy rates. There's quite a few of these platforms out there, and it's the thing about short-term rentals is that it's no longer just a rental per se. People are not just looking for a place to stay. Many times people are looking for an experience, and they want something that resonates with their who they are. And the goal is to get repeat bookings, and hopefully you can get glowing reviews, so people will read your reviews and be interested in applying to book your space. So successful, what I found is that successful host, a host is somebody that is the one actually owns the property, or is not renting, is actually managing the property for the guests. To do it successful, I think requires several things. One, it requires some insights, strategy. It requires attention to detail, a lot more so than with a regular rental. I have experience in both. And it requires a deep understanding of the market dynamics to be successful. It's not as simple as just, get an idea. Let me just rent this room out in this house. That may be okay, but if you want a high occupancy rate, it's more than that. You got to think about, it's almost like running a hotel. What it boils down to is a lot more intensive, a lot more work involved, and that's the reason why I'm not really a great fan of it. It's just too much work. I'd rather just get a tenant, move into my house, they stay 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and call it a day, as opposed to people coming in and out every week, every day, every month. It's just a lot of work, and it's just too much work for me. And I tried giving it to a management company. It's not cheap. I think they were looking for 20% gross of the income coming in. And so after you're paying for utilities, you got to provide internet service, you got to furnish a place. I mean, after all of that, it just wasn't, as profitable as I thought it would be, at least for me. I'm not saying that it's not profitable for you or for other people, but I just didn't find it as profitable as I thought it would be. But anyway, what we're going to talk about today is what you can do if you're entering that short-term rental space, and the key components for a profitable short-term rental strategy, because this is crucial. You can't just go in there and fingers crossed. You've got to have a game plan, and hopefully I'll share with you today some some action items and some tips, suggestions based on my experience, and also based on research and speaking to other people that are in this real estate investing niche. So we're going to talk about things like eye-catching photography, compelling descriptions, your ability to master guest relationships, and also leveraging technology. These are some of the things we're going to talk about. And as I said before, to be successful in this space is more than just crossing your fingers and hope for the best. It requires a calculated strategy. Okay, so let's get to number one. How can professional photography transform your listing? As we all say, first impressions are always a lasting impression. And most people who are going to see your property, if it's a short-term rental, are going to see it through a listing. And so the photographs is essentially the first impressions of your unit. And therefore, I highly recommend that you have professional grade photographs, not just clicking on a few, on your iPhone and, or your Android and just sort of, doing that. It's really important to have professional grade photographs. It costs money, obviously, but I think it's worth it. Because that's what people see. And it's, if they don't like what they see, they're moving on to the next listing, and therefore you've potentially lost a guest there. So it's really important to let them know what they can expect if they were to select your property. High quality, I think well composed photographs are absolutely important. It just not just show the features of your property, but also it can significantly increase the click rate. The number of people actually click on it and actually read the descriptions and so forth, and hopefully will go to a booking. So the visual appearance is critical, and in a saturated market, in a competitive market that we're in, it's really important that you stand out from the crowd. And so it's not just beyond it's beyond sort of the aesthetics. I think photography, a good photographs communicates a message to your audience, potential guests. It sort of indicates a certain level of professionalism and high quality that you sort of believe in, and also suggests to potential guests that you care about the property, and you're trying to attract a certain caliber of guest, and you have a certain level of potential of attention to detail. So it's not free. Sometimes you have to pay, but I think it's well worthwhile. And because you're not the only one trying to vie for these people's attention, you got competition, and you got to be able to stand out from this crowd. So high occupancy requires a certain level of attention time that you're going to have to apply, and also it allows you to charge premium prices. So it's an expense, but it can be a good ROI, return on investment. After I always have professional grade photographs for all my properties, regardless of whether it's a short-term rental or whether it's a long-term rental, because that's the first impression. That's what people see. And I also have videos, virtual videos, which I use for my short-term rental and also for my medium-term rental. So what are some of the action items as it pertains to professional grade photography? Hire a professional photographer with experience in real estate, someone who knows what they're doing, they know the best angles, they got an eye for this kind of stuff. Stage your rooms, stage the house if you can, and therefore people can visualize it. Staging tends to provide or demonstrate emotions. It brings emotions to the property. So I recommend that you stage your properties, especially short-term rentals, as opposed to just having an empty space. Well, I mean, you can't really have an empty space anyway, because people aren't going to be bringing their own beds. You're going to have to furnish the property. So you're going to have to, provide furniture and furnishings, and update your photographs every now and then to appeal to the current crowd. So that's the first thing to do, first strategy for a successful a short-term rental strategy. The second thing I think is really important is it's what we call a term, what they call dynamic pricing. And dynamic pricing, what it is that it's pricing your unit based on market situation. And so it's a strategy that a lot of people with short-term rentals use. And what it essentially is using technology in real time to vary and change the price of your unit. So based on things like market demand, based on things like seasonality, is it winter, is it spring, summer, or fall? And also it could be local events taking place. There could be a big event taking place and there's a high demand, or it could be low season, and so on. So the idea is that you adjust your pricing based on these things: demand, seasonality, and also market pressures and things like that, local events. So this level of flexibility really it gives you it really can maximize your profitability, because you don't want to price it too high, but then again, you don't want to price it too low. And an undervalued property or underpriced property during peak times means that you're leaving money on the table, and an overpriced property during the slow period means that you're not going to get many bookings. So implementing a dynamic pricing strategy, it's a good way to go, and it's based on obviously your understanding of the local market wherever you are, whether things like tourists, if it's a tourist season, are there major events taking place, and are there even things like weekly fluctuations in demand based on whatever's going on in your locality. So there are tools and software that allow you to do that. So you can automate this process, not something that you sit down every day, every minute and checking it out. There are tools, there are software that adjust the pricing based on seasonality, and they analyze data, lots of data, vast amounts of data, and then they recommend best pricing based on that sort of number crunching and things like that. So by staying responsive to the market, you as a host can increase your occupancy level, and as a result of that, you get a constant stream of income, based on the market dynamics wherever you are. So that's market, what's it called, dynamic pricing. So what are some of the action items that you may want to consider as part of the dynamic pricing strategy for you? Utilize dynamic pricing tools. It's sort of embedded into Airbnb and some of these other short-term rental platforms. Monitor local events and adjust your prices accordingly. And finally, analyze competitors. I call it competitive analysis. So that way you can stay competitive relative to your competition. Number 3, as part of the strategy for getting high bookings and great reviews, is do a detailed descriptions. And detailed descriptions really are important. I don't believe in those sort of, even for my long-term rentals, a short description. I provide detail. I try to create a narrative, that speaks to my potential or desired customer. And so the goal is to convert them from browsers to bookers. Okay. Browsers to bookers. Hey. And so I think a compelling, detailed description, it does go beyond the basics of just describing your amenities, 3-bed, 2-bath, or whatever it is. But it tells a story about the experience that a guest may have if they were to stay in your space. And it's you want to kind of communicate a lifestyle, whether it's a cozy environment, whether it's close to the hustle and nightlife, is it close to recreation, or whatever it is that you're trying to sell. You want to give the prospective client an idea of what they can expect if they were to book your space. And so what does that mean? It means that the description that you provide, it highlights some of the unique features of your property. It could be details about the house itself or the property itself, or any special amenities that you may have: off-street parking, jacuzzis, or anything that's different. And the idea is you want to make a personal connection to your prospective guest. What I've learned is that you have to anticipate the needs of and desires of your target audience, and use language that speaks to them. For me, when I do my long-term rentals, I know who my client is and my customer is, and I write very, very descriptive, copy, words that talks to my tenant, who's what I call a tier 1 tenant. I speak to them. I know who they are. I know what their needs are, and I talk to them in my ads. Same thing here, is that you have to talk to your potential client. You have to understand what they're looking for, and highlight that. So what are some of the action items as it pertains to attracting guests? And let's have a look. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about things like a detailed property description. Let's have a look. I think hopefully my internet is going to hold up today. Include detailed descriptions about the property design, the history, and unique features. Mention any nearby attractions, amenities nearby, and use inviting descriptive language to create a narrative that you're trying to share. Okay, so kind of midpoint through, and I don't know, my internet is not as strong today. I don't know what's going on. So hopefully we'll survive this this live stream today. Anyway, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box as usual, and I will get to them in about 10 minutes or so. So please put them in. Anything to real estate investing, anything to do with BRRRR strategy, landlord, tenants, Section 8, buying the properties, renting the property, screening tenants, anything to do with real estate, please put them in the chat box, and I will try my best to answer them in about 10 minutes or so when we wrap up the discussion for today. So number 4 is, it's really important to, I think anyway, to have a personalized or strive for a personalized guest experience. As I said before, earlier on, people are not just looking for a place to rest their head when they book short-term rentals. Maybe they are, but a lot of people are now looking for experiences. People are traveling extensively. People are digital nomads. They stay here, there, and everywhere, and so they're looking for more than just a place to stay. They're seeking what I call a memorable experience. And and so therefore to provide that, you've got to have some personalized touches that again differentiates yourself from your competition, and hopefully allows them to have that experience that they're searching for. So things like custom guidebooks. You can describe some places nearby. Make some recommendations of places to eat, places to entertain, places to sightsee, and things like that. Again, that if you provide some suggestions and provide some cues, that can help them have a memorable experience. And so on. So I know for my short-term rental, we have a guidebook, and I always update my recommendations of places to eat and activities, local stores, and things like that. So again, people come to a place, they don't know anything, so I'm providing some help for them, and hopefully will that'll be appreciated, and that will also enhance their experience. I know when I used to do a lot of travel when I was working at my regular job, I'd go to these hotels. I have no idea what's going on in town. I don't know this place, and so many times you don't go anywhere because you don't know where to go. And you go to the front desk of the hotel, they don't know, they don't care, and or they don't really, that's not their job. And so if you can provide, I know that if I had some local suggestions of things to do, places to go, it would really enhance my stay at these different locations where I would go to work at. So again, people looking for experiences. It's a thought that counts. This attention to detail, which a lot of people don't, will allow your guests to have great personal, unique experiences, and hopefully will lead to positive reviews, and hopefully will lead to more loyal customers, and so on. So what are some of the action items associated with that? Guest experiences: create a personalized welcome note for each guest, offer a local guidebook with your favorite spots for them to go, and consider small welcome gifts and or amenities that add value to your property. These are things that you can do to enhance the experience for your potential guests. Number 5, how does emphasizing cleanliness and impact? Cleanliness is really, really important. Who wants to go to a place where it's dirty? Who wants to go to a place where it's not clean? And it really does turn people off. I know I went to an Airbnb once. It was terrible. I think I went to Philadelphia, and I mean the place had bed bugs and all this kind of nonsense. It was just an awful experience. And I was just wondering, we pay a cleaning fee, but this host just didn't. The place wasn't appropriate, and so on. So obviously, I didn't give it a great review. But yeah, people are expecting a certain level of cleanliness when they go to your place, and if it's not clean, you're going to have terrible reviews. And this is a non-negotiable item. If you're going to get into this business, you have to at least pay a lot of attention to having a clean place. And especially in this sort of post-COVID environment where people are very health conscious. You know, they like a clean, you know, people are worried about germs, spreading germs and things like that. So, and their personal safety is also, you know, it's really important. So a certain level of professional standards is expected from you. And it does mean that if either you get professional cleaners, or if you're going to do it yourself, make sure you do it properly. Otherwise, you're going to get bad reviews from prospective guests. So you got to have a commitment to cleanliness. And from when a tenant, a guest walks through the front door, and while they're there, and you have clean sheets, clean floors, clean kitchen, clean bathroom, the usual stuff. And that's what people are looking for. So make sure that you have a cleaning protocol. You know, and make sure that cleaners do a thorough job, and because a clean place is the minimum that people are going to expect from you. So what are some of the action items associated with cleanliness? Implement a checklist, a cleaning checklist. Consider having a professional cleaning service, and you know, so that way you have consistent standards, and highlight your commitment to cleanliness in your listing as well. And finally, number 6, we're going to talk about how do you leverage technology to grow your business and also to increase efficiency. You know, in this competitive environment, technology is really important. You can leverage technology. It's not just an advantage. It's nowadays it's a necessity. How do you leverage technology? Things like smart locks, that allows people to you know, enter your property and check out easily, and you can change codes and so on. Automated messaging is also another technology you may want to implement. Streamline, you know, the idea is to streamline the hosting experience, and you know, these tools not just enhance the experience, but also it contributes to a seamless experience for your guests. So invest in technology, the right technology. It can save you time, reduce errors, and hopefully will allow your guests to have a better experience. Okay, so finally, what are the action items as it pertains to technology? Things like you know, implement smart home devices and use automated messaging. And so my internet is very choppy today. I'm not sure why. So just bear with me if hopefully we'll survive this thing together. Let's have a look. Anyway, I'll just keep going. Hopefully will catch up with me and so on. So, but the idea is use automated messaging for timely communications, and then finally explore hosting platforms for management efficiency. And I'm going to wrap this up now with conclusions. And let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's see if my internet or my laptop doesn't crash on me. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, let me know if you can hear me okay, wherever you are. And, you know, it seems like my okay. Okay, I'm going to conclusions. I'm going to wrap this up now. So, you know, profitable Airbnb hosting, it covers things like strategic pricing, a compelling listing, and also an exceptional guest experience. That's really important. By adopting the strategies that I've talked about today, hopefully it will get you higher occupancy, great reviews, and you know, but it's a continuous process. And you know, so I'll give you some tips today, and hopefully that will help you if you're entering the short-term rental space with Airbnb, VRBO. I know that these are the platforms, but you know, learn from the experience of others who've paved the way, and hopefully you can have a very, very successful you know, short-term rental Airbnb experience as well. So with that said and done, let's have a look again. So we're going to get down to the Ask Dr. Joe segment in a minute. So if you've got some questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll try to get to them shortly. And again, my computer is not acting very well today. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully my system will catch up with me. But anyway, we do have an event, as I said before at the beginning, on March the 16th. And so March the 16th is a save the date. It's going to be at a property, Femi's property here in Washington, D.C. that he renovated. We're now in the final stage of the renting, and then he will be then going to the refinance stage as part of the BRRRR process. It's been a very, very successful project, and looking forward to the event next Saturday, March 16th. I'll provide more information. If you haven't registered, so if you're not a subscriber, to my email list, please do so. Go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can sign up for my emails, and you'll be getting the emails later on this week, in fact, and so on. So hopefully you'll be able to attend the event. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a wonderful experience for everybody. And finally, let's have a look. If you want to do, if you have one-on-one, if you want to do a one-on-one with me, if you've got any questions pertaining to real estate investing that you feel requires a lot more time with me than what we're doing on today, then you can go to my website and schedule a one-on-one with me. It's called Ask Dr. Joe. So go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can register there. So, and then finally, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And if you like this video today, please share with your network. And again, my goal on these Wealth Wednesdays is to provide you with quality information, and hopefully you can like, share, and subscribe accordingly. So let's have a look. If I can get to the questions, I will do so. But my computer is acting very, very strangely today. So I'm going to see if I can get to the questions, and hopefully it's not being very kind to me today for some reason. I see a lot of questions here, a lot of comments. I'm having difficulty trying to retrieve them. So hopefully I'll get to them in a second once my computer starts behaving itself. Okay, let's have a look, see if it can. Yeah, it's not doing too good today. Anyway, I hope that today you've been able to hear a lot of what I said. And technology, it can be your friend, or it can be a source of great frustration. I'm not too sure what happened today, but it just doesn't seem to be cooperating. I'm going to give it another couple of minutes, and then I'm going to try to get to the questions. I have a lot of questions here, comments, but I'm just having difficulty trying to retrieve them. So, but anyway, so really today, as I said, what we did, we covered some of the 6 strategies that, to increase reviews, things like photography. We talked about things like, dynamic pricing. We talked about things like a detailed description. And also we talked about, cleanliness, the importance of cleanliness. And also we talked about leveraging technology and how to leverage technology to get reviews and also increase your occupancy levels. And then we also talked about the event that's going to take place next Saturday, March the 16th at Mr. Femi's house. So please, register for that one. You go to my website, sign up for my email list, and we'll be starting the marketing for that probably later on this week. And if you got some questions, if you got some issues, you got some challenges pertaining to real estate investing, obviously, I'm going to go to my Ask Dr. Joe in a second. And then hopefully I'll be able to take on your questions as soon as my computer stops acting up. But it's not being very friendly today. Not too sure why. But anyway, otherwise I'm gonna have to wrap today's session up early. No, it's not. I can't get to your questions. There's a bunch of them here, and I feel bad that I won't be able to retrieve those questions. Hmm. Yeah, looks like it's not gonna happen. Anyway, please put your questions in the chat box. I'm gonna try to get to them as soon as my computer allows me to do so. Again, no, it's not. I think my system is locked up, so I may have to. I'm gonna try some here. Yeah, I don't know if I have the internet here. It's just not being cooperative. So no. Okay, my friends, looks like it's not going to happen today. So please save your questions for next week, and I'll do the best that I can to get to them. So with that said and done, my friends, I want to wish you a great weekend, a great evening, and oh, okay, I think I've got them here. Let's have a look. I think I've got them here. So let's have a look. Let's see if this shows up on the screen. Dow 2's here. And welcome back, Dr. Joe. Greetings from Phoenix. Welcome. Thank you. A great time. And congratulations, Femi. All the best with your tier 1 tenant. I got a message from Karen P. Hello, Dr. Joe. Hello, Karen. And let's have a look. I'm slowly getting this thing. It's painful, but bear with me. Hopefully, I can try to get through some of this stuff with you. This is from Karen, and let's have a look. Well, Karen has a question for me. Let's have a look. See if I can get to that. It's easier for the guests if the Airbnb host doesn't live on the property. I agree with that one. I don't think a lot of guests don't want to live with the owner on, hovering around. But I know some states nowadays the owner has to be present. Otherwise, they won't give them a license. You've got to be a primary. Message here from Miles Davis. I have an Airbnb in DC, but occupancy has been low over the last year. Any advice on turning it into a rental? It's a 4-bedroom, 3-ton house. Have the high mortgage. Miles. I'm gonna try. Yeah. So they changed the law around last year in DC, and so you got a couple of options. If you don't have a license, Okay, I hope that you can hear me, and hopefully you can see me as well. Um, ah, I apologize. Today's been a terrible day for technology. Um, so I think I answered the question from uh, Miles. I have an Airbnb in DC. Occupancy has been low over the last year. Any advice on turning it into a rental, roommate style? It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhouse with a. If you want a roommate, you can do the regular rentals, long-term rentals. Obviously, you can do medium-term rentals like Furnish Finders is a platform you may want to consider going to. I've had quite a bit of success with Furnish Finders, but typically there are 30-day plus rentals. It looks like you're looking for a more long-term tenant, a traditional tenant. So I would definitely consider roommate. There are lots of different roommate platforms that you may want to consider, Miles. That's not my specialty. So I really can't advise you too much on that one, but I definitely would consider Furnish Finders, and as opposed to the short-term rental space like Airbnb, because as you can see, it's not always cracked up to be. I didn't have the bookings that I was looking for when I was doing Airbnb. Hello, Dr. Joe. We're under contract for a property with existing tenants. They do not have renters insurance. Is there any way we can encourage them to get one before the lease renewal? Yeah, you can. You know, well, you can either require it, which means that they have to get it. You can strongly recommend it. You can have. I will definitely put a disclaimer there, which is what I have, which is that the tenants have to. You're offering them the opportunity to get insurance, and you can explain the benefits of insurance. And if they don't get it, it's on them. So if the house catches fire, if there's theft or whatever is going on, then they can't run it after you. They've signed a release essentially. So that's what I do for my tenants before they move in, is to have a form which says, if I as a landlord is recommending you get insurance, your stuff is not insured. So if something was to happen, I'm covered, but you're not. So by the way, here's some insurance companies you may want to consider, and they sign it. Down to April 24, 2024 will be 1 year from my first ever voucher tenant. Okay, I have not heard from the voucher office regarding the 1 year inspection or anything. Should I heard anything by now? Not necessarily. I know in DC it's every 2 years. We do inspections every 2 years, so you may not hear anything from the housing authority. Depending on where you are, they may do annual inspections. If you haven't heard anything, then you can either contact them or just wait until they call you, or you can call them and find out what the policy is for your area. I know in our area it's every 2 years they do inspections, not every year. Miles, what time is your March the 16th event? It's going to be between 11 and 1. Hopefully, everybody should be signed up, should be on my email list, because we're going to start the marketing for this event probably later on this week. But it's next Saturday between 11 and 1. It's going to be a great, it's a paid event, so it's my nominal fee. We found that if we have a paid event, you tend to get more serious people attending. And we're going to have refreshments, and it's well worth it. If you've been to one of my events, you'll know. My goal is for every dollar you spend, I provide you $3 in value. Karen P, what is the best way to be an Airbnb host and not own the property? Rental. What is the best way to be an Airbnb host and not own the property? Rental arbitrage. Yeah, you could do rental arbitrage. What that means is that you essentially you rent a property from somebody else, and then with a lease. So you lease a property for, let's say, a year, and for a set price. So every month you are paying the landlord or the owner that price, the agreed price, and then you turn around and use Airbnb or short-term rental to rent it to short-term renters. So you're arbitraging, and so the difference between what you pay and what you collect is yours. So you don't need to own the property. It's just that you are doing rental arbitrage. So that's one way. But you are signing a lease. So if you don't get the bookings, you're still on the hook for the monthly rent that you're obligated to pay the owner. I know a lot of people have tried that. I haven't tried that myself. So if it's something that you think you can make it work, definitely go ahead and try it. But I haven't tried it, so I can't really advise too much on that, Karen. Troy Bigham, how do you feel about alleged management companies that are actually just marketing companies? How do I feel about that? Alleged marketing company, alleged management companies that are actually, you're gonna have to provide some context, Tony. I'm not too sure what you are saying. I'm not too sure the context which your question is. So please clarify. If people are pretending to be something else, that's never good. So if they are in fact marketing companies, sort of masquerading as management companies, then obviously that's not good. Ken Jackson, hi Ken. Dr. Joe, I have a multi-family deal that I would like to discuss with you. What's the best way to connect with you outside of this live stream? Ken, what I would suggest is that you reach out to me on, go to my website, book a session with me, Ask Dr. Joe. Go to my website. There's a button called Ask Dr. Joe, and or shoot me an Instagram or shoot me an email, and I'll send you the link. It is $175 for 1 hour, and it's not free, but I do these quite often now, and everybody, I think have been satisfied with them. And as usual, my goal is if you spend $1 with me, my goal is to give you $3 back in value. So you can book a 1 hour session with me, one-on-one, where we can go through the details of your deal, and I can provide you with my input, and hopefully, I can help you, sort of either screen it, do some due diligence, or hopefully help you execute on the deal. So you can shoot me an email, Ken, or go to my website, www.joeasamoah.com, and book a session. My email address, is joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. Good question. Thanks a lot, Ken. Let's have a look. Johnny H. Hey, internet is fine on this end. Okay, I'm glad it's okay, because I can hear you. Okay, great. Thank you. I think the problem has been fixed now. So, Dr. Joe, thanks for the time and great information. Great event as well. Thinking about renting a newer home to a voucher tenant. This would be the first in the area. Is this a good idea with a new home? Okay, PMA TCE. Interesting name. Dr. Joe, thanks for your time and great info. Great event as well. Thank you. I had an event a couple of weeks ago. Thinking about renting a newer home to a voucher tenant. Okay, you got a newer home, you want to give it to a tenant, and this would be the first in the area. Is this a good idea? I think it can be a good idea, or it could be a disaster. It depends on who gets into your home. I mean, this is the key. This is the bottom line, really. If you get a tenant from hell, it's a disaster. If you get a tenant from heaven, it's great. And I call these people tier 1 tenants. That's who I'm looking for. I'm searching for tier 1 tenants. That's the only people I rent to. And that requires screening. You've got to be good at screening. You've got to be thorough at screening. In fact, I helped Femi screen for his property. We've got some great applications, and we selected a really, really good tier 1 tenant. I was helping another student, Suk. He has an apartment, and I was able to help him get 3 tenants in an apartment just a couple of weeks ago. So screening is the key, and I believe in that. You can't compromise on screening, because my take is that 80% of your problems as a landlord, it boils down to you just got the wrong person in your house. That's what it boils down to. You just got the wrong person in your house, and the wrong person in your house is horrible. It's unnecessary stress. It's frustration. It's hard work, and it's draining. So, and it's not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It doesn't work that way. There are people out here who are masquerading as great tenants, and they're not. They're drama. And I'm looking for tenant that's clean, quiet, responsible, no drama, excellent rental history, and can pay the rent. That's what I'm looking for. And to do that, you know me, I'm thorough. I go to their homes. If they're not okay with that, I'm not renting to them. It's not discrimination as long as you do that for everybody. You can't say I'm only going to the homes of voucher holders, but I'm not going to the homes of market rent. You can't do that because that's discrimination. However, if you have a policy that it's across the board and you apply for everybody, then that's just your policy. And as long as it doesn't affect those protected classes, we know what they are: race, sexual orientation, gender, and so forth. As long as you don't discriminate on those grounds, then you got to have a policy that doesn't get you in trouble, and so on. So to answer your question, PMA TSC, it can be a great idea if you get good tenants. If you don't get good tenants, it's a terrible idea. So you need to invest in making sure that you have great screening systems. And you can listen to a couple of my sessions I've done on that. Otherwise, you can book a one-on-one with me. We can go through that for your specific case, and so that way I can guide you and help you through this process. So hopefully, it'll be successful for you. Okay, yes, sir, I can hear. So it looks like everyone can hear me. We can hear and see you now. Okay, good. Ty and Miles Davis, any advice on pre-evictions? Tenant was 1 month late, but caught up the following month, but still behind for the current month. I gave a 10-day notice, but they are still technically behind. Any pre-eviction. So you got a tenant who's, let's just say is unreliable in terms of their payments. And so what are you going to do? I just say it depends. And it depends on the tenant. It depends on the situation. I have tenants who are behind on their rent. It doesn't mean I'm going to evict them. I try to work with them. I try to understand what's going on. There may be agencies, organizations in the local area that can assist with rent. I do things I can to help the tenant. If it's a good tenant. Now, if it's a terrible tenant, I'm not going to do anything. I want them out of my house. But if it's a good tenant, then it's in your interest to work with them because it's very expensive for them to leave. You're going to have a turnover issue, Miles, if they go. You're going to have to paint the place again, clean it again. You got no income coming through. You got to look for a new tenant. It's it's going to cost you 2 to 3 months lost income. So if your rent is $2,000, it's going to cost you $4,000 to $6,000 after all is said and done when they leave. So the question to you is, can you work with these people to get them caught up, or is it just not worth the effort? And then you got to do what you got to do. That's up to you. I generally like to work with my tenants because I don't want to have turnover, and but some tenants you just don't want to work with. So it just depends on what you got, Miles. Again, I'm not too sure of the situation. You can ask more questions. I'll definitely try my best to answer them. Okay, thanks again. And what's the time? 7:55. We'll wrap this up. Do you have any info on renting the single rooms versus the entire home through Section 8? Ty, I generally don't rent single rooms. I've only got one Section 8. I've only got one short-term rental property, and that's a midterm. So I tried. Anyway, so yeah, this one I did it in such a way that it's 4 single rooms, and then they share common space, which is similar to what you're trying to do, Ty. I had very good success. I'm having very good success with furnished finders. That's another platform. Furnished Finders is the website. Do a search on that one, and depending on your area, how desirable it is, you may get some good bookings there. I'm getting a lot of bookings from them. So these are single rooms. I wasn't having much success renting the entire house for this one particular property, but I had a lot more success renting rooms. So they're because they usually cater to traveling nurses and medical professionals, and they generally don't travel as a group of 3 or 4 or 5 people. They usually just travel as individuals. And so they're not looking for a house per se, but maybe looking for a room in the house. And that's what I found anyway. And fortunately, my property was not too far away from the hospital, a local hospital. So we're getting a lot of people, nurses, who are renting this property. And it's turned out quite well, in fact. We appreciate you, Dr. Joe. Always great advice. Thank you. Miles Davis, I was trying to avoid them not paying for a month and then telling me to use their security deposit as their past due amount. Yes, you definitely want to avoid that. I would take the time to speak to them, find out, understand what's going on. Yeah, if you feel that they're just going to, not pay you, then the sooner you start the eviction process, the better. I don't know which jurisdiction you're in. Some jurisdictions, eviction is a very long, drawn-out process, like, for instance, Washington, D.C. But other places a lot faster. So it depends. So if you feel that they're not going to pay you, then you may want to start the process as soon as possible. Otherwise, you could be, negative, and so on. So again, I think it's going to be a judgment call, Miles, on what you do. And then vacate the property. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could give you the song and dance, give you the sob story, and then take off in the middle of the night and leave you high and dry. That is definitely a possibility. Hopefully it won't happen to you. Again, a lot of the problems that you have as a landlord, I found anyway, the root of it is that you just got the wrong person in your home. Most people are good people. Most tenants are good tenants. I like Section 8 because as long as the tenant's in my house, I'm getting the housing authority's portion guaranteed. So if the rent is $3,000 and the tenant's responsible for $500, I'm getting that, $2,500 every month. So I'm now, fighting for that $500 as opposed to fighting for $3,000. But that's the reason why I do it. And I've been through cycles, real estate cycles, where people lose their jobs, people get fired, and it really doesn't matter. If you have Section 8 tenants, the housing authority's portion is coming anyway. In fact, if they do lose their job and their income goes down, you can go to the housing authority and their portion also goes down as well. Anyway, my friends, it is 8 o'clock. I think we had a good session. I apologize for the technical issues that we had. But hopefully it was a good one. Again, we're going to have an event March the 16th at Femi's house. If you a part of my email network, social media network, you'll be getting some reminders very shortly. But save the date. It's going to be a great session. You're going to see a house that is complete. And you'll learn everything that Mr. Femi did, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's really a success story. I'm very, very proud of Femi and what he's been able to accomplish in a relatively short period of time. He now has a 6-bedroom, 4-bath house that started off as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And if you come on the event on March the 16th, you'll learn about that. And you'll learn about how we did the rehab, completed the rehab, and how we went through that tenant screening to select this tier 1 tenant. That in itself, you need to be a tenant. You need to come to learn that. We got some really, really good quality applicants. And that is not crossing fingers. That's a calculated strategy. And if you come onto the event, you'll learn that. So hopefully it'll make your life a lot easier. And again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this this live stream with your network. If you thought it was helpful, please do so. And then finally, to book a one-on-one with me, one-on-one Zoom. If there's any real estate related questions that you want some one-on-one with me, we can go specifically in more detail for an hour. Go to my website, joeasamoah.com, and you can register with the Ask Dr. Joe button, and you can book a 1-hour session with me. It's not free; it is paid. It's full disclosure. I believe in transparency. It's $175 for 1 hour, but you'll have my undivided attention, and we can drill deep into a topic or an issue or a challenge that you are facing, and hopefully get you back on the right track. and I've done quite a lot of those, and I really enjoy it. And I think everybody that's signed up for those things have experienced very, very favorable results. So again, my friends, I'll hopefully see you next week, next Wednesday, Wealth Wednesday, and hopefully I'll see you in person on March the 16th at the Education Network event. So with that said and done, my friends, have a good evening, and let's have a look. Do you still sell your 50? Yes, I do. I still do. It's a 20-page lease. Yeah, you go to my website, you can go to the store and book it there, buy it there, along with some other I think there's a tenant toolkit you may be interested in buying as well. My friends, have yourself a wonderful evening. I'll see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you March the 16th at Femi's house. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye for now.